Today, every day, small cap investors visit Agoracom knowing this is the day to discover the world's next great company, to have their dreams come true. That's why I take to the open road, to find them, to tell their stories, to engage them, to bring them to life, because they want to connect with you from your office, your phone, your home, anywhere. Agoracom, find your dream. Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Agoracom, in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives right after they put out important news. And given the fact that this is a Sunday edition, you know it's big news. And it's Paul Gill, CEO of Lomiko Metals. The company trades on the venture exchange under the stock symbol LMR. For our friends in the US, LMR, MF. And for our friends in Europe on Frankfurt under DH8C. For those of you new to the story, that's going to be some of you. The company's in the midst of proving up a very big high-grade graphite deposit. That's the Lomiko flake graphite property. That's 120 kilometers north of Montreal. Right now, the company's working towards a PEA, a pre-economic assessment that will increase, hopefully, its current indicated resource from 4.1 million tons of 6.5% to over 10 million tons of 10%. But what we're here to talk about is something that came right out of the blue on Friday afternoon. I'm going to read the headline. Lomiko Metals engages Kenmar Securities to raise $40 million for acquisition and development of critical metals projects. Paul, welcome back.
Thanks, George.
Quite the press release for a Friday afternoon. You know, in July, out of nowhere, we see the IROC halts the stock, you know, before the close. And we see this headline. So you definitely got our attention. Question for you. It's kind of open-ended, leaves a lot of questions open, and we've been seeing them online. So let's clarify a few things. The first one is, this is money for acquisition and development of critical metals projects. Three things there. Let's talk about acquisition first. Where are you going there? We're looking at more graphite?
Yeah, there's potentially room for more graphite in the portfolio. We have room for, I think, development in other jurisdictions. So we're certainly wanting to look very carefully at that. North America, I think, is going to be a good location for graphite, and you want to have at least two producing projects in any particular field. A lot of gold companies have two projects, so you get the best sort of safety for the bottom line if you have the two.
As I read deeper into that, though, I also see development. So could some of this money be going towards developing La Lute, because you know you're right in the middle of it there now?
Yeah, we see Nouveau Monde, who's a neighbor of ours, plugging away and getting funded by Pallinghurst. And so what we expected and what we came down to was that there's other capital companies out there looking to get a toehold in the same area. And I think with Lomiko, we're definitely in a Goldilocks zone with the proximity to Montreal and the port there, the proximity to Imerys, the producing graphite mine north of us, and highways right to the port and through the Gulf to get the product to market. And that whole section throughout there between Ottawa and almost up to Baie-Comeau has a graphite streak in it through the Grenville Trend, and that's where high-grade graphite deposits are. We're lucky in our particular area because our particular area has less sulfur, which is less cost for development. But those are things we have to figure out in the preliminary economic assessment, which we're hoping to accomplish with this raise.
Is this part of a big grandmaster plan? Because over at La Lute, you're completing 100% acquisition there. Now you've got this happening. Is there a method to the madness here? Is there a bigger picture we're not seeing? And if it is, how much of it can you kind of unveil right now? How much can you shed some light on it?
Yeah, I think it's very clear where we're going, and we're following the trend. The trend is we need to secure supply of these critical minerals in North America. That's been recognized by the US Senate and the Canadian government. So we want to plug into that entire process and into that supply chain. So that's one big trend that's going on. Secondly, we're seeing more and more electric vehicles on the road, and people are making a big bet on Tesla. We've seen it go from 400 in March to 1,600 recently. Just unbelievable movement. That tells you that there's a big bet going on when it comes to electric vehicles, and that means there's going to be a requirement for the battery materials that are needed to make those lithium-ion batteries.
Capital structure impact, Paul. $40 million, obviously, if you're going to do that in all in equity, would be quite the shareholder dilution. We've seen questions about that. What can you tell us there? Is this something that you're planning to do on all equity, all debt, maybe a combo of both?
Well, in reality, it really is a matter and a function of price. We certainly can't take that much equity. We could, but it would be massively dilutive to current shareholders if we took it at this kind of price. So we're certainly looking at doing primarily loans in order to get the development going, and then looking at getting the stock price to a point in which we could take equity for the development further along. So that's the main thing that we want to get out to people. Is there going to be a huge dilution? No, we've done really well at consolidating stock ownership, and we have a number of million share club groups, of which we know a few, let's say. And so the point here is to take it to the next level, and loans, I think, are the logical choice when you're given a bull market that's yet to manifest, and you have, I think, a market in graphite, for instance, that's going to be robust. So how do we maximize shareholder value? Well, we take a loan, develop the project, develop the value,
nice,
and then add others as well that will develop and that value as well for shareholders. So that's really what we're all about. We want to be focused on wealth creation. This is the way to do it.
Kenmar Securities isn't exactly Goldman Sachs, devil's advocate here. How confident, what's your confidence level that this will get done? And ballpark, what are you thinking about ETA wise?
Yeah, the people that we know at Kenmar Securities are new to that particular firm, and they've come from a long history of commodity and metals investment. So yes, Kenmar is new, but the people that are coming into the project and coming into that particular fund or securities firm are very very adept and very knowledgeable and very connected in the metal forums. We just happen to be one of the first deals they've done. Now we know that there's going to be others, and that they have the connections to create large facilities of cash for the development of companies. And so they're getting into it now, and we just happen to be at the right place at the right time and have the right conversation. And it's an opportunity that looked good on both sides. And certainly they've been attracting a lot of attention now with other juniors. And that's fine with us. We just want to be the first one to get the cash and move forward and create value on our project.
Well, I read two things into that also, Paul, putting on my hat, which is we're in a yield-starved world. You got negative yields in Europe. Yeah. You've got essentially zero in North America. I mean, they're a joke. So there are debt instruments out there everywhere looking for yield. But the second part is, yield only looks for opportunities where it thinks there's going to be cash to pay it back, to play that coupon. So, should I be reading into that a little bit more, that you have a much higher level of confidence that you're going to be generating the cash flows necessary in order to, pay that coupon?
Yeah, I certainly feel that we have what it takes in Lelut to achieve those end goals of being able to have a profitable enterprise. I mean, that's what we're here for. We're here to create a profitable enterprise that will be able to pay its bills and pay dividends to shareholders eventually. That's really where we have to look in order to create value. Now, the other thing that's happening, George, that if you step back and you realize a lot of these companies that have been involved in real estate development for the last 20 or 30 years have done massively well and created incredibly large war chests.
Right.
But really, bricks and mortar investing in real estate isn't going to be a big thing anymore. You're not going to see a lot of malls being built. People are shopping online, so they've got to redeploy that capital, look at where to invest. And mining is a perfect location that translates well from real estate, because you're owning land, you're putting in development costs, and you're coming out the other side with a product.
Yep.
And before it used to be rent, now it's going to be actual product that you can sell and create a very good bottom line with. So I think it makes a lot of sense on the macroeconomic scale, and of course, we feel it makes a lot of sense on the microeconomic scale.
A lot of money going to be diverted from real estate now, that's for sure. Commercial vacancies are going to be going through the roof, and money that would normally be plowing into that space is going to be looking for another place to go. And it looks like Lomiko may be the benefit, Paul. I want to thank you so much for joining us on a Sunday to get this out to your shareholders, because you put this press release out on Friday, and we thought it was important to have it in front of the market, in front of your shareholders on a Sunday evening before the market's open tomorrow. Yeah,
well, news happens when it happens, right?
Sure.
So you can't control when you get the document, and so when we got it, we took action right away to get the information to shareholders. It's been a long negotiation, not a hugely long negotiation, but a very detailed one, in which we engaged interest, and then got Kenmar to commit to doing that. And I think there's more to come, and we don't be surprised to see more news releases that might be eye openers.
Nice. That's a great way to end off right there. You've been watching, or if you've been listening by podcast, to Paul Gill, CEO of Lomiko Metals, trades on the venture under LMR, on the OTCQB under LMRMF, and for our friends in Europe on Frankfurt under DHHC. Do your due diligence. Don't say we didn't tell you so. Hopefully you just discovered, or you've now got even more faith in your next great small cap graphite company. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Have a great evening. Talk to you next time.